Okay, everyone, so I promised a video on the fetal circulation. And if you look at your lab book on page 83, you'll find the list for fetal circulation. And this is actually pretty easy. We only have a few structures that we need to know. One thing to realize is a few of these structures, we have the fetal structure, and then we've got a complement of postpartum or postpartuition organs. So, like the foramen ovale becomes, after we're born, the fossa ovalis. So what I'd like to do is just go over these different structures with you, and I'm going to use a picture, and then I'm going to show you a model or two. I don't have the creepy baby model that is in our lab. So when we get back to class on Monday, you're probably going to want to check out creepy baby model and make sure you can identify these parts. And if you have any questions, just let me know, and I will be more than happy to help you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the page that has our fetal structures. Let's see, where are they? Here they are. Okay, so on page 98 is the general fetal structure that we'll have to know. And if we look at this, the picture on the left is going to be the fetal structure. See, here's the placenta, the umbilical cord. On the right side is postpartum or after birth. Our circulatory system changes. And so what we get is we're going to get our normal blood circulation in this circulatory system after we have childbirth. Now, in the fetus, one of the things to remember is that we're going to have a mixture of blood. And that's why these blood vessels, like our vena cava and our pulmonary trunk and pulmonary arteries, are purple within the fetal. Let me zoom in on this, and this will make it a little bit easier perhaps to see. So if we look at this, remember the fetal circulation is on the left. On the right is our postpartum circulation. Now, the reason why we have a mixing of blood, we've got some blood that is oxygenated and some blood that is deoxygenated in the fetus. These are mixing because we have two, basically holes in the heart. We have a hole in the wall of the atria called the foramen ovale. And this hole allows blood to move from our right atrium into our left atrium. So there's a hole in the septum of the atria called the foramen ovale. And then we've got a blood vessel that is connected. It connects our pulmonary artery to our aorta. And so blood is flowing right from the pulmonary trunk or this pulmonary artery right into our aorta. That structure is called the ductus arteriosus. Now, these two cause the blood to mix. So oxygenated blood is mixing with deoxygenated blood. Okay? Now, in the postpartum heart, this foramen ovale that is between our two atria, it closes off and becomes the fossa ovalis. The ductus arteriosus, this blood vessel that connects our pulmonary arteries to our aorta, it also closes off and it becomes this structure called the ligamentum arteriosum. So you have to know both structures. So in the fetus, the hole between our atria is the foramen ovale. It closes and becomes the fossa ovalis. The ductus arteriosus is this blood vessel connecting our pulmonary arteries to our aorta. It closes off and becomes the ligamentum arteriosum. Now, if we look on one of our heart models, I'm going to zoom out. If we look on one of our heart models, we can actually see these two structures. So in the heart, you can see this structure, and it's actually the fossa ovalis. And it's this fossa, remember, is a thumb imprint. So you get this kind of thumb imprint. It's number 55 on this model. That is our fossa ovalis. In the fetus, this is a hole that goes right through the atrial wall into the left atrium. So the right and left atrium are connected by this hole. So blood is flowing right from the right side to the left side, mixing the blood. Now, if you look, remember our pulmonary artery. This is the pulmonary artery coming out. It branches and goes to our lungs. This structure right here is that ligamentum arteriosum. And in the fetus, it's a blood vessel. And this blood vessel's open, so blood flows directly from our pulmonary arteries to our aorta. But this closes off, and you can still see it on the heart. It's kind of a ligament, so they call it the ligamentum arteriosum. So you have to know those two structures, all right? Now, there's one other thing that we really need to talk about, and that is, if you look, we've got the placenta. Let me raise this up here just a little bit. We have the placenta, and then we have our umbilical cord. Now, the umbilical cord, we have a red vessel, and then these blue or purple vessels. Now, remember, I told you the other day that we have two exceptions to our color rule. The pulmonary vein and artery are switched in color. So the pulmonary vein is red, and the pulmonary artery is blue. Same thing with the umbilical cord. So the umbilical cord, the red area of the umbilical cord is the umbilical vein. And then the blue part of the umbilical cord is the umbilical artery. And that's because it's named after the heart of the fetus, not the heart of mom. So blood is flowing from the placenta to the heart. So it is a vein, but it's oxygenated from mom. So it's red. Now, baby uses that blood. Blood gets deoxygenized and comes back via the umbilical arteries back to the placenta because it's going away from the heart. And that is the umbilical arteries. Okay, now when the umbilical vein gets into our belly button, it turns into this blood vessel in the fetus called the ductus venosus. And this ductus venosus is going to carry blood up into the liver and then into our circulatory system to go to the heart. When we are born, the umbilical vein and that ductus venosus stops carrying blood. It shrinks down into kind of a ligament, and it's called the ligamentum venosum. And so we can see these umbilical ligaments, and the ligamentum venosum are the remnants of our umbilical cord. So the umbilical cord contains this ductus venosus that turns into the ligamentum venosum. And that's it. That's the structures of the fetus. I told you in class it wasn't going to be very much, and it's not. So when we get back to class on Monday, if you have any questions, let me know. And I'll be happy to show you these things on the creepy baby model. All right. I hope you all have a good weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Take care.